So I decided to do something a little different for this vlog and do a proper June/first week of July recap. So to start off, June was really great for habit building. I did manage to go through all of my workouts except for one on week 3. I noticed that I was pushing my workouts out into the evening, and by doing that, it was just becoming less and less likely that I was gonna make my workouts, especially because I do not like working out in the evenings. I also cleared out a lot of processed food from my diet. To name a few, I was having ice cream every now and then. That became a little too often of an every now and then. There just seemed to be something, like some kind of celebration or some kind of occasion or something would happen, and I was just having like dessert too often. Then I was enjoying these avocado oil chips, and that was just something that I was doing while watching like a movie. Another thing I was having chips and like guacamole. So too much of that can just really pack on the pounds. If you're having healthy fats are great, but if you're not balancing it with the rest of your diet and your exercise, it's just not a good thing to do. I'm trying to think of what else I pulled out of my pantry. And popcorn. So like the sweet and salty popcorn, I love that stuff. So I was eating those things, not every day, but frequently enough where it was just not going to help me. So for the month of June, I moved all of that stuff out of my pantry and I stopped having it as frequently, maybe once a week and in a much smaller portion. Now to replace that, I needed something, because if you're watching something with someone, you want to have a snack every now and then. Kind of not a good habit, but I replaced it with frozen berries, which I ended up loving so much. So just frozen blueberries, frozen raspberries, a little bowl, and that was just enough. That was one of the changes that I made, removing the stuff out of sight, out of mind, no longer in my pantry. And those are, I think, the key things: the consistency with my workouts and removing the processed foods. Obviously, that's something that I'm gonna have to keep an eye on and track more as the weeks go on, because you can't really be in a calorie deficit properly if you don't know exactly how much you're eating. The reason that I said in my last video that I won't be tracking calories is because in my mind, tracking calories goes hand in hand with weighing your food, and I really do not like weighing my food. It's something that's going to come, it's something I have to get over. I'm gonna do it eventually, but one of the things that I'm thinking about is maybe halfway through the month or toward the end of this month, starting to track my calories and just not weighing my food. The reason that people say that you should weigh your food while tracking calories is because it's not always accurate. So the numbers on the packaging is not always accurate. The most accurate thing that you can use is the scale, and this is something that's actually spoken about a lot in the bodybuilding community. People that don't weigh their foods but track calories, oh my goodness. People really nitpick on those kinds of things. Something that kind of got ingrained into my mind was, track calories, you have to weigh your food, and I hate weighing my food. It's just another layer of things to do on top of keeping track of your workouts and making healthier choices, placements, substitutions. It's just another thing to do, is to whip out the scale, and I've got to get over it because I will be doing it in the future. I don't want to do it yet. So that's why I said that I won't be tracking calories just yet. This first week in July was the hardest week out of all 5 weeks. And I think it had to do with me just slightly increasing the workout intensity. My body just said no. And I felt really weak because I didn't increase the intensity by that much, but I was just exhausted. Not during my workouts. That was the funny thing. I felt like I could do a lot more. In fact, I was actually very tempted to crank up the speed even more, but I told myself no, because I've done this in the past and hindsight is 2020. I have overtrained myself in the past, and this time I just stuck to what I said I was going to do, and sure enough, the next day I was just exhausted, and this lasted all week. I think my body was just taking its time getting adjusted to the difference in intensity. On top of that, I did my weigh-in and my measurements, which I will be including in this video, and my weight came in higher than my starting weight for June. I find that at any weight, at any level, when you see those numbers go up, unless you're intentionally wanting them to go up, because there was a point when I was intentionally gaining weight just to put on more muscle mass and things like that. That was different. I enjoyed seeing the numbers go up then, but it was very strategic. This time around, even though I know that the scale can fluctuate for various different reasons, I think that because the week and the workouts were so tough, I was almost feeling a little entitled to seeing a greater loss on the scale, and that's not what it was at all. It was the complete opposite. So I came in at a higher weight, and of course measurements and photos and videos and how your clothes fits, all of those are markers too that you need to use. If everything is consistently going up, you know, you look larger in your photos, your measurements are larger, the scale weight is larger, your clothes isn't fitting, those are all indicators that you have gone up in size. Now, is it body fat? Maybe. It could also be water, you could be bloated. There are many different things that could be happening. Not something to worry about in 1 week, but I'd be lying if I would say that it didn't bother me. It certainly did bother me. I think it also has to do with the fact that I am sharing this process. I wouldn't say that I consider myself a weight loss channel per se. This is just like a diary of things, and right now it's weight loss related. So I think that, you know, people that are looking to lose weight are looking at channels that are doing it and documenting the process, and to show that weight, I was just kind of thinking, oh, this doesn't really show progress, but it doesn't mean that I didn't progress. And I still wanted to share that thought and those emotions because I'm not immune to feeling that, even though I understand it very well. And I went ahead and took my measurements. My measurements were pretty consistent with last week. There were some increases, interestingly enough, I think around my thigh, and a tiny one around my waist, but really pretty consistent with last week other than that. So my clothes fit the same. Actually, the bands on my leggings are a little looser, so that's nice, except for when I'm running, then they're falling down, but nothing that screams body fat percentage rising. So all in all, I think good. I think that July has gotten off to a good start just because I got all the workouts in despite being tired, despite really not wanting to do it. I think I have June to thank for that because I really pushed with building that habit for the full month of June. I missed one workout and I corrected the thing that caused me to miss that workout. June was a success. I'd say the first week of July was a success if I'm ignoring the scale weights. And I think that I'm pretty optimistic that next week will be easier all around. So I think my body will adjust to the intensity, and the goal is to continue increasing the intensity and the number of days that I work out. So right now I'm at 3 days. I'm going to increase to 4 days around mid-July. If I continue to feel this exhausted, then I might wait and just keep it to 3 days until the 3rd week or the 4th week in July, but I think it's gonna be fine. So that is my recap for June and the 1st week of July, and I will go ahead and jump right into my measurements and my workout. are my week 5 measurements, and I'm gonna go ahead and do something different and talk through the measurements this time. I'm gonna start with lower waist. I'm really curious to see what my measurements say. So for lower waist, I'm trying to keep the tape really loose, not squeeze. Coming in at 37 and what is this, 5/8? I'll have to put the numbers up on the screen. Can't see this upside down. Upper waist, again, making sure I'm in the right place. Just at about 32. Yep, that's where I am. Okay, so maybe a tiny bit higher than last week, but not what I thought it might be. Let's see here, glute measurements. Turn around. What is this? 41, is that right? 41 and 5/8. Yeah, 5/8. And okay, chest. Okay. Let's see. Try to get in the same spot. And this one has stayed pretty consistent the last couple of weeks, so I'm pretty sure that I did this wrong. The first week I did put a note in my video that I had gotten this one wrong. If you accidentally hold your breath, it can go up, so I think that's what I was doing, and it has been 37 every week since, so that hasn't moved, and I'm gonna go with 37. That was my original measurement. I think I made a mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and do thigh. Okay, so this one looks a little bit higher, so I'll put this number up on the screen, but slightly higher than last week. It's hard to get, so I can't see, but I'm gonna go with, am I squeezing the tape? No, I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna go with 11 and a half. Yeah, 11 and a half.